far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lived there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under his roof, where he makes his own clothes out of myth-muffered moof. And on special dark midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. Way back in the day, when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami song rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking around in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate their truffula fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was so much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leap of joy in my heart. I knew just what to do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree in just one chop. And with great skillful skill, with great speedy speed, I took that soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazoop. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I had chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was brownish and shortish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset, and he shouted and puffed, what is that thing you made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm not doing any harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that everyone needs. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. It has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, for curtains, for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy. You can never tell what what some people will buy. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree, and we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So, in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into their cars and drove away under smoke-smothered stars. Now, all that's left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. Lorax said nothing. He just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad backwards glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, when my buildings have fallen apart, I have worried about that with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seed. The truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffle and feed it fresh air. Give it clean water and treat it with care. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack, when the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.